All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. The invocation and as well as the pledge will be led by Commissioner Curtis.
Let us pray. For all who have contracted coronavirus, we pray for care and healing. For those who are particularly vulnerable, we pray for safety and protection. For all who experience fear or anxiety, we pray for peace of mind and spirit. Father, during this time, may your church be a sign of hope, comfort, and love to all. Grant peace, grant comfort, grant healing. Be with us, Lord, here in Mifflin County and all around the world. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first order of business, there a motion to approve the minutes from the April 2nd, 2020 meeting.
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Approval of bill, Commissioner President.
All right, we have accounts payable first. Accounts payable total $1,181,604.72. Payroll is $336,013.72. 911 account is $21,083.72. 3 checks from CDBG account for $57,610.71. Act 137 account has 1 check for $2,082.68. And finally, there is 1 check from the liquid fuels account for $20,110.52. I will make a motion to pay these bills.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Treasury report.
Our beginning balance was $838,531.35. We had deposits of $1,311,691.10. We had transferred $59.42 for the 911 account. We transferred $249.53 for the LEPC account. We voided checks of $3,422.50. We agree with the reading of the bills by Commissioner Postal, letting us an ending balance of $636,335.86. Our liquid fuels account has $388,533.82. Our Act 89 has $326,502.05. Our 911 has $375,529.14. Our LEPC has $38,829.22. Our local use fund has $427,621.23. Our capital reserve has $8,298,686.58. It's all subject to audit.
Thank you. The motion to accept the treasury report.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Meetings and events, Commissioner President.
All right, I attended a first responders meeting organized by our EMS department. All the rest of these meetings were by conference or by web-based software, and that was Central County's Youth Services Board, CEDACOG conference call, CCAP board meeting. We had actually 2 of those to talk about pending legislation, and the CEDACOG Natural Gas Executive Committee meeting yesterday.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Curtis.
Mine were by conference call as well. The CEDACOG conference call, the CARS board, and Regional Services Executive Committee.
Okay, thank you. And I have nothing else to add. We just have a lot of internal meetings there with COVID-19. Any public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on. New business. We have a few reports here from numerous outlying agencies in Mifflin County. The first one we're going to hear from is Mifflin County School District, James Esack.
Good morning. I'm not sure exactly what you were hoping to hear today, but I can just give you an update on what we've been doing since the school closure. Once the school closure was announced March 13th, we began convening members of our leadership team to begin laying out a plan to provide some form of continuity of education for the students. As you can imagine, with 5,000 students and approximately 380 teaching staff and support staff to organize, this was quite an endeavor. Some of us did not have the extreme familiarity with using Zoom to conduct all of our meetings and so on, but we've become really proficient pretty quickly. Key members of the leadership team, as well as key members of our staff, got together. We looked at our curricular content, and we were given 3 options by the Department of Education. We chose an option of providing what's referred to as enrichment and review. We went with that option, and staff designed review and enrichment activities that are now provided on the district website for parents, and for students and parents who have limited internet access, we are allowing them to come into the district parking lots. They can download the information from there and then take it back home and work on it. In some instances where families don't have smart technology at the house whatsoever, we have made some exceptions and run packets. Keep in mind, we've had to do all this abiding by the same restrictions that you and county government are expected to provide by, keeping social distancing practices in place and so on. From the support staff angle, our buildings and grounds crew is working on an as-needed basis. They are mainly just trying to keep up with mowing during the spring season. They're going to be a little behind on the trimming part of the gambit while we're in the fast-growing season with grass. But I think to date they're doing a pretty decent job of rotating and keeping up with that, with the main mowing. Beyond that, as a superintendent, it's not only my job to look at how this is impacting us in the near term, I also have to think longer term. I've already received reports that certain universities, I think Boston University was one of the first to announce that they're not going to open their courses until second semester next year, which means their kids won't be coming back until January. I think there is a real possibility that we could see something like that happen in the fall. One of 2 scenarios: either they delay our returning in the fall, or we return, and obviously if there's a second wave or a second round of the virus hitting, I could see them doing what they did this spring, shutting us down, and we revert back to an enrichment and review or one of the other options provided. Another thing we're doing, I have a meeting this afternoon with key leadership. I had one yesterday for 3 hours. I expect today's to run about 3 hours. Within these continuity of education plans, we do have the ability to modify them as we go. Now that we've been conducting enrichment and review for a few weeks and subsequently found out that the governor was shutting us down for the remainder of the year, we are now going to start examining the possibility of offering some, I'm going to call it normal planned instruction, maybe in a few subject areas such as math and language arts. In that case, there would be direct instruction occurring between teaching staff and students through either Zoom or Google Classroom or some other means. Today at 1 o'clock when we have that meeting, we're going to be discussing what the implications of trying to provide that are in terms of logistics, in terms of available technology. We are not yet a one-to-one school system. Given our limits financially, we've done a great job of providing technology. We probably have hardware for about every 2 students or every 3 students, but we are not yet one-to-one. We have just submitted a grant requesting approximately $450,000 for additional technology in the wake of the coronavirus outbreak. If we're successful with that, that will help us even more. But the group today is going to be talking about the ramifications of trying to provide actual direct instruction versus enrichment and review. And there are not only logistical issues to deal with in order to offer that, there are also issues that we have to contend with regard to complying with federal law under IDEA, which has to do with providing equitable educational opportunities for students with special needs. Above and beyond that, we are now conducting our board meetings through Zoom, and that will continue as long as the shutdown is in place. Further, as I said earlier, I not only have to look at how things impact us in the immediate, but also in the longer term. I am a voracious reader of Forbes magazine and the Wall Street Journal. I try to follow how things are impacting the economy, because as you guys know, when the national economy is impacted, that trickles down to all of us in the local governmental agencies. To that end, if Pennsylvania is facing the possibility of a $4 billion revenue shortfall, when this is all said and done, that is going to have a colossal impact on all of us. So because of that, I'm trying to figure out how I can at least maintain the services that we currently provide and not have to reduce the services that we provide. We have a lot of kids who have some really deep needs. They're not just special needs students that have those needs. We've made a serious investment in mental health through grants that we've been able to secure, and we don't want to let up on providing those mental health services for the students, because if they're not mentally healthy, then they're not going to be able to participate in the ways that we like to see kids get involved in school. Above and beyond that, are there any questions you have with regard to?
Jim, you mentioned that some don't have access to broadband, and I know you don't have the exact number, but
If this were
have people coming to the parking lot?
Yes, they have. But, you know, I sat for the last several years watching Bill Gomes advocate for this county to have broadband, and Bill Gomes was pretty prophetic when you think about what's going on right now. If ever a situation has highlighted how desperately rural communities need broadband, this situation has shone a light on that in a very glaring way. And if we have to continue along these paths educationally with a new normal involving more distance learning, then it's imperative that our state legislators work with federal agencies, and we have some kind of a major broadband expansion initiative.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Anything else?
Jim, an issue near and dear a lot of people's hearts are
Athletics.
graduation.
Graduation.
ceremonies.
Okay, well, graduation, we don't have a definitive plan for the when, but we are trying to come up with a way to have some kind of graduation ceremony. It obviously may not look like they normally look. We have every intention of trying to have some semblance of some kind of milestone activities like graduations or proms, possibly later in the summer. The unfortunate side of that is we're going to have some kids, depending on how late in the summer, we're going to have some kids who are already committed to the armed forces, and they're going to be already gone and heading to basic training. But we're going to do the best we can. So
I have seen some yard signs recognizing the individuals who live there as a graduated senior, which at least when we pass that house, we could think about that there's somebody living there that is graduating and is going to enter a new phase of their life. Otherwise,
Yes.
they go unrecognized.
Yes, and actually, our teachers association has been working on a bigger plan along those
Right.
lines for our graduating seniors. But I don't want to steal their thunder on that. I do want to make another comment. I want to tell everybody that it has been, I'm one of the elder superintendents in this region right now. I mean, I'm usually much older than the other superintendents in the group, and I've certainly been a superintendent much longer than most of them. And in Mifflin County, I've had a sort of a rare opportunity that superintendents don't usually get. Often when you move into a new job, whoever your leadership team is it's already there. When I came to Mifflin County, there were a lot of members of a leadership team who were nearing the end of their career. So that has enabled us to bring new people on board. And I've sat in amazement during these Zoom meetings, watching them deliberate about all the details that we need to be thinking about to make sure that kids get what they need, but also to make sure that we don't overwhelm staff who's trying to deal with this in a new paradigm. And I am not only so impressed with how this leadership team has been really pulling together, like many other groups are doing, but also our teaching staff and our support staff, they have just been stepping up left and right. They're volunteering to deliver meals. They're volunteering to come in, or not necessarily come in, but to spend time doing extra things to try to help the leadership team. It's really been a sight to behold. It's been a real team effort. You know, they say that very challenging times reveal the qualities of people, and I want to reassure you guys and the rest of the county that this challenging time is really revealing the kind of quality that exists within this county and within this school district in terms of the kind of people and the kind of work that they're willing to put in to make sure kids are still trying to get what they need. So it's been impressive. I feel like a grandfather proud of his grandkids or whatever, you know.
Sorry. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll now hear from Cindy Sunderland. She's going to talk about the caller ride services.
Good morning, everyone. Just to give you a little update on what's going on with cars, in about the middle of the month of March, we got a recommendation from PennDOT that we go to reduced service. And reduced service means that we are only doing trips that are medically necessary and grocery necessary. So if an individual calls and they don't have groceries, then we will take them for a trip to the grocery store. If an individual calls and was just there the day before with a load of groceries, then we're going to suggest that they wait till the next week to do that. Our office is open as usual, but we are splitting staff. So half of the staff works 1 week and the other work the next week. So we're shifting between office and home. Medical assistants also came out with some guidelines for us. So at the end of last week, they began to say that we also need to ask questions to these medically necessary trips. So we are asking that individuals, if they have a cough, if they have a fever, if they've been close to anybody that is positive for COVID, before we actually accept our trip and put them on the bus. The drivers are to be watching for this type of thing and to let the office know if they see anybody who is visibly sick. We are also now saying that all individuals, drivers alike, and individuals that get on the bus need to wear a mask. And the last update is at our last board meeting, which was last Tuesday, I did present to the board that there was an allowance through PennDOT that we could do same-day service, which is huge with PennDOT because they're all about pre-scheduled trips. But during this virus situation, they have allowed for those of us who will request a waiver through them to do same-day trips. So the board did approve it, and I made that recommendation to request to PennDOT, and they have approved it. So yesterday we started allowing individuals to call in and have same-day trip requests. So they can go to the doctor, they can go to the grocery store same day without having to make that pre-scheduled trip. And that's pretty much where we're at with cars. Does anybody have any questions?
Cindy, the people that get dialysis, they're still getting their regular treatments on the weekends also?
Yes. Yep. Yes, treatments are medically necessary, so we are making those trips.
So what happens to the information if someone says that they have been exposed or are sick? What do you do with the information?
We don't do anything with the information. We just do not take that trip request.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next will be here from Commissioner Cody. She's going to report on the Area Agency on Aging in the Mifflin County Library.
All right, thank you. I'd like to thank Pat Fitzgerald, the director from the AAA, for providing this information for us this morning. Mifflin-Juniata Regional Services and its affiliate, Mifflin-Juniata Area Agency on Aging, the CARE Network, continues to provide services during the pandemic. The agency continues to provide care management, protective services, and community services throughout the 2 counties. The care management team continues to provide and monitor in-home services, including personal care, home support, and home-delivered meals. Referrals are still being accepted. Home-delivered meals remain a top priority. The Agency Protective Services Unit continues to receive and respond to reports of abuse. Senior centers and adult daily living centers remain closed. Home-delivered meal recipients continue to receive these meals, and senior center participants have the option of a takeout meal option. Weekly telephone wellness checks are made to the center and adult daily living recipients to ensure needs are being met. Ombudsmen are staying in touch with long-term living facilities and advocating for residents as needed. Apprised counselors are still taking appointments by phone to help with Medicare needs and questions. Person-centered counselors are still available to help individuals connect to services in the community. Older adults may still call for information and referral. Tax season was discontinued but will pick up again once permitted by the IRS. On behalf of Mifflin-Juniata Regional Services and the Mifflin-Juniata Area Agency on Aging staff and volunteers, they wish to thank all the local community officials for their support. Community members desiring services should call 1-800-348-2277. That wraps up the AAA report. Now I'll move on. I received this from Molly Kinney, Director of the Mifflin County Library. From the Mifflin County Library Board of Directors, staff, and friends, next week is National Library Week, a time to celebrate and recognize the important roles that all libraries, large and small, public and private, contribute to the communities they serve. During this unprecedented time when libraries are closed, take the opportunity to broaden your horizons and stop thinking of a brick and mortar building you visit most often. Envision beyond that three-dimensional artifact known as the book, with its unique smell, crisp pages, and hard binding. Since the governor directed public and private institutions to close their doors, libraries across this great nation have been working hard to find alternatives to delivering the services you want, expect, and need. Electronic libraries are open 24/7, 365, just waiting for you to visit. Locally, you enter the library through our website at www.mifflincountylibrary.org. Just like our physical space, there are collections, areas, and spaces to visit with a wealth of reading materials, many to check out or download, and some to enjoy in-house. Please connect and engage in the ideas and activities we are pushing out for you via our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Don't have the internet? We've boosted our Wi-Fi service all around our buildings, so you can connect to friends and family, download school assignments, and complete necessary online tasks for services and businesses that no longer allow entry into their buildings. While our community is coping with whatever this new normal is, actress Lauren Ward's words embody the spirit of National Library Week. Libraries always remind me that there are good things in this world. Thank you, Commissioners Sunderland, Postal, and Coders for recognizing, supporting, and understanding the value of all the libraries in Mifflin County. Molly kidding.
Thank you, Commissioner Crewish. Next, we'll hear from department heads. First up will be Allison Fisher.
Hello, gentlemen. Well, Human Services continues to provide resources around food security, housing, income, and of course, trying to promote the census during this time because those numbers are very important to us continuing to get the funding that we need to do the work that we do. So some of the things that I'd like to make sure folks know about is to be checking the county website. You can go to the department link, you can go to Human Services for the food calendar, which lists all of the food pantries and their times of operation and their phone numbers. So food pantries are continuing to do distributions. We're actually getting some extra distributions in right now that we're handling, and I'm trying to make sure we get out to folks. Also, you know, one of the things that I really enjoy about living in a rural community is how creative people are. We have to use the limited resources we have well, and I think we do a great job of that. And so there's a group, I'm not sure who's coordinating it, but they put together a website called feeding.mifflincounty.us. And it's a list of all of the free lunches for kids that are out there right now in the community, the restaurants and small businesses that are doing that. They also have a spot where you can donate. So that's a great resource for folks. We are trying to link to that, but it is out there and it's being updated, and I think that's just a great way to support our local businesses and let folks know what other food is out there besides what we're providing at the county level. So I want to call attention to that. Want to reiterate to folks that this is not the time to be moving around. Typically this is the time of year we see a lot of that, and so we're encouraging folks not to do that, of course. To work with your landlord, use the stimulus checks that are coming out if you're behind and need to catch up on the rent. There should not be evictions happening, and there is a line at pa.gov for folks who feel that they've been wrongly evicted during this time that they can call. Just because you can't be evicted doesn't mean you shouldn't still be paying your rent, though. Landlords are businesses too, and they need to pay their bills. So again, I really want to encourage folks to use those stimulus checks if they're behind and get those rents paid up. Also with utility shutoffs, that should not be happening. And we always want to encourage folks to call 211 if they're in need of resources. Some of the utility companies have come up with some different programs to handle that during this time. That information is out there as well. Of course, the tax program that we operate along with the Area Agency on Aging has been suspended, but the filing deadline was pushed back to July. So I want to direct folks to the irs.gov site. There is the very first button that's there, says non-filers, enter payment info here. That's a question we're getting a lot, is for folks who don't typically file taxes, how they can get their stimulus check. And there is a very simple button they need to push and then enter some information. They are going to have a Social Security card to do that. So if you've lost that or you don't know what it is, you're going to need to contact the Social Security office to get that. But it's very clear cut. There's a list of information there and how to put that in. One of the other items that I'm a little concerned about is folks who typically do not get a refund, folks who are paying. And a lot of our independent contractors fall into that in this community. So they typically are making payments, they're not getting a check back, and there is a step they have to do in order to get the stimulus check. So I'm really concerned that a lot of the folks right now who really need that stimulus check don't know that they need to actually go to the IRS.gov site to make sure that the IRS knows where to send that check to. So folks need to do that. Obviously, the IRS.gov site is slow. I've been trying to go into it to click on some things myself and haven't been able to get access for the last 2 days. So we'll just warn folks about that it is very slow. One of the things that I wanted to also bring to folks' attention while I have the forum is that some of the churches are still doing takeout community meals, and we're listing those again on the county website under the Human Services link. I know that New Life Church is doing a meal on Tuesday, April 28th at 11 a.m. For the first 240 people that get there. So we have not seen folks running out of food in the community in terms of pantries being able to distribute. I've had a lot of questions about that, and also about volunteer supply. The churches that run those pantries locally have a fabulous group of folks volunteering for them. So we haven't seen that as a problem yet. We'll keep you posted if we do. There are some census resources. I know folks are looking for things to do for their kiddos, and so there are some things if you go to the 2020census.gov site that are activities for kids that they could be doing. So if that's something that parents are looking for activities, that's just another way to help folks understand how important it is that people be filling out that census. And it's online. You can do it online. Please go do that. Folks who have P.O. boxes, which a lot of folks in our community do, are not getting anything mailed to them. So it's important if you have a P.O. box that you do go to the 2020census.gov site and fill that out. So I think that's the updates I wanted to make sure you had.
Let me clarify something then. If I had a P.O. box, I'm not going to get a census form?
You are not. I have a P.O. box. I've done nothing. Nothing. I wouldn't even know the census were taking place right now if I didn't work here.
That's news to me. I mean, we are urging everyone to complete the census by mail, by phone, online, because if they don't, field people have to come out and knock on your door, which is not an ideal situation. But I did not know that if you have a P.O. box, you don't get the form.
Not a thing. Yeah.
We'll have to do something about
I've
that.
asked about that because that affects me personally, and that's just the way that it's set up. So that is, we're really trying to get that word out to folks because those oftentimes are the people that then go uncounted, and we need that information. So.
I don't think we can underscore enough the need for everyone to complete that census information. There's so many federal funding streams that base how much money the county gets on our census. So
absolutely,
everyone needs to stand up and be counted here. Because if we only have 3/4 of our people counted, that's going to cost us a lot of money. And,
yes, it is.
And it's going to hurt county services, school district. It's going to touch us at a lot of levels. So we encourage everyone to complete it online if you can, or if you can. I guess a lot of people at their homes, they eventually will send the canvassers around, but with our COVID-19 situation, that might be pushed back, I guess.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not sure how many folks understand that there are mandated services counties have to provide. You don't have a choice in that. When those budgets come down, it is what it is. And so if there's not the money coming in because they don't think we have the numbers, there's going to be some hard choices that have to be made, especially with the COVID. We heard, you know, superintendent talk about the state budget and how that's going to affect them. So it's very, very important that folks go online and fill that census out if they haven't gotten that in the mail.
Maybe our regional services could direct some of our seniors to do this. I mean, as the superintendent said, not everybody has access.
Very good point, Rob.
And if you don't have access and you haven't gotten your form and there's other things that are on your mind these days, you're not going to care very much.
Right. It's just not.
So we'll have to think about it. We'll have to collaborate
Absolutely.
with others on that.
Yeah. Anything else?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next up will be the Emergency Management Coordinator, Mr. Phil Lewis.
Good morning. Before I go with any other information, I just want to make sure, this is National Telecommunicator Week. The 911 Center has 14 dedicated individuals working day in, day out in the midst of the coronavirus epidemic, and I just want to recognize them for the work that they do. Anything specifically you're looking for, or just a general update?
General update.
Currently, Mifflin County, Lewistown Hospital has 2 patients admitted, both are on ventilators. The same is true of Mountain Ridge Medical Center and the hospitals in the Blair County region. Overall, our region of the state is very significantly below the numbers that Southeast and Southwest Pennsylvania have. We're continuing on with that, but we expect Pennsylvania to plateau in the number of confirmed infections this week, next week, just due to some cluster activity we have in the region. We'll probably see that number continue to rise, but nowhere near the numbers that the state has had as we've been going through. We continue to provide personal protective equipment to first responders, police, fire, EMS, necessary services at the county level, and the Department of Health has set up a program where they're providing PPE to nursing homes and acute care facilities. They're managing that directly. We see bi-weekly, every 2-week deliveries to most of those facilities. We have a small stockpile here that we're drawing down for our first responders. So even though the supplies are limited, the state is doing a fair job of pushing out small supplies as frequently as they can to all those facilities that they manage.
Phil, why occasionally does the number go down?
The daily number?
Yeah, the daily number, Mifflin County.
It seems like it's more because of when those test results come back. Most test results, or most tests are being sent to commercial labs, which, because they're doing more and more testing, can be anywhere from 4 to 7 days. And a lot of times it's the lag over the weekend for the actual samples when they're tested.
Okay, so when the test comes back negative, the count will go down, should go down. Like I noticed Mifflin County's count.
I think what you're.
I'm sorry.
You saw the residents, like
Yeah.
Juliana County
Yeah,
residents.
in that case, what's happening is that they have an initial address that's provided during testing. Most of the time, it's where the test is collected at that they use. Once they have a positive that comes back, it goes to the public health nurses in the counties, which work Monday through Friday. They follow up to determine who actually tested positive and where they actually live. So if they were tested at the public health office here at Lewistown, which is, they're doing centralized testing for Mifflin and Juliana County, it gets attributed to Mifflin County initially. And if they don't get those numbers back in time, then it's still attributed to Mifflin County and it's corrected the following or 2 business days after.
Thank you.
Yep.
How many testing sites does Mifflin County have?
Right now, there's only 2 formal testing sites, which are Geisler Lewistown Hospital and the Public Health Office for the Department of Health. They do those testing. They have a variety of different tests they run, which can be several hours to several days with the different labs. But that's really key on the accuracy and how quickly they need it. Typically, they reserve the quickest tests for those patients who are being admitted so they can determine what level of protection they need for those patients and the providers going with them. But they also tend to be the most inaccurate.
Good.
Thank you. Next order of business is we have a proclamation that April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Commissioner Post should read that.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. This is Sexual Assault Awareness Month proclamation in April 2020. In the United States, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. The goal of this proclamation is to raise public awareness about sexual violence and educate communities on how to prevent it. This proclamation calls attention to the fact that sexual harassment, assault, and abuse is widespread and impacts every person in this community. Rape, sexual assault, and sexual harassment harm our community, and statistics show 1 in 5 women and 1 in 67 men will be raped at some time in their lives. Child sexual abuse prevention must be a priority to confront the reality that 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 4 girls will experience sexual assault before age 18. On campuses, 1 in 5 women and 1 in 16 men are sexually assaulted during their time in college. This year, Sexual Assault Awareness Month is celebrating its 19th anniversary. The theme for this year's campaign, I Ask, helps empower all of us to put consent into practice and shares the message that asking for consent is a normal and necessary part of sexual activity. We, the Mifflin County Commissioners, join advocates and communities across the United States in taking action to prevent sexual violence. Proclaimed the 16th day of April 2020, Commissioners Sunderland, Postal, and Kodish.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have numerous requests for exoneration of 2020 county real estate tax bill and relieve the tax collector from collecting the bills. Parcel located in Decatur Township, the survey determined portion of the land is located in Snyder County. It will be rebuilt with the August supplemental billing. We have a parcel located in Derry Township that received veterans exempt status. We have 5 parcels in Oliver Township where carports were removed. We have 1 in Wayne Township where carport was removed. We're looking to approve the exonerations.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have a letter of support for the PennDOT District 2 Community Traffic Safety Program grant.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have a resolution number 35 of 2020 authorizing Planning Director Mark Luzzi to submit a DCNR trail grant for Phase 2 of the Riverwalk project and approval of a letter of commitment and local funds. Motion approved.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That concludes the end of our business, but I have a brief statement I'd like to read on behalf of the commissioners. At the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis, we essentially hit the pause button on matters until we had a firmer idea of how long this pandemic may continue and to allow us to better gauge what essential services we needed to continue to provide, how we were going to provide them, and the number of employees needed to achieve that. Once the state and federal guidelines were issued on continued social distancing efforts until at least April 30th, we conferred with our department heads and determined that we could lay off the equivalent of 41.5 full-time non-essential employees effective this past Monday, April 13th through Friday, May 1st. We gave those individuals the option of either using paid time off, such as vacation, sick, or personal time, or file for unemployment, whichever best suited their individual situations, and we've had different people selecting different options. Our plan is to continue to monitor the situation and revisit the staffing arrangement in the coming weeks to see if these levels need to be continued and extended past the initial May 1st target date. Whatever decisions we ultimately make, we will make them with the input and guidance of our emergency management leader, Phil Lucas, as well as pursuant to state and federal guidelines. Our continued goal is to maintain a level of essential services provided by county government while balancing the health and welfare of our employees. Mifflin County Commissioners Mark Sunderland, Robert Postal, and Kevin Kodish. I'd also like to thank President Judge Barron on his working with the commissioners by his laying off of numerous employees in the court offices that he supervises. No further business. Stand adjourned.